Hey guys, how's it going? Bit of a different video today, checking out the playtest for an awesome little FPS roguelite coming out later this year, Void Breaker. No release date yet, just 2025. I saw this one shown off recently in the III Initiative Indie Showcase. This trailer, which I'm playing on screen now, really grabbed my attention. The fast-paced first-person shooter action, the roguelite aspects, the gorgeous visuals, I mean, just look at the light reflections against that crisp white gun. I'm absolutely not going to notice it when I'm playing, but it looks pretty, right? Void Breaker impressed me, and they held an extended interview following the trailer with a solo dev for this project. Yeah, one absolute unit of a dev has put this together. And assuming you're watching this video in the first week it's up, Void Breaker's playtest is running right now through to the 24th of April. So if you like the look of it, jump on Steam and try it out. The playtest is limited. There is only a single biome and single boss at the end, which means your runs won't be long, but it left me wanting more, and I can absolutely see the vision behind this experience. So let's jump straight into what works and what needs more work before release. First up, if you're not familiar with the genre, a roguelite is generally characterized by permadeath, procedurally generated levels, and the gameplay loop revolves around you making a run or an attempt to get to the end of the game, dying, which is expected, progressing somewhat in power between your runs through currencies and specific items you collect, and then starting again. The idea being that with each run, you get small progressions in power to make it easier over time. In the playtest, this is limited. A few upgrades to give you more modules for your weapon that carry over, some increased health, and weapon sights on game start. Roguelites also generally add some type of mechanic during the run to make each one feel different. So you have power increasing over time, and then power in each run that doesn't cross over, but keeps it feeling fresh. For Void Breaker, this comes in the form of weapon modifications. Each time you make a run, you'll start with your basic weapon, and you'll find different types of modifications which you slot into your gun, giving it new abilities I'll touch on soon. You start with just a pistol, but later unlock an assault rifle, which is then available as your starting weapon each run. There will be a ton more weapons on release, but the playtest was limited to those two. The gameplay loop here is straightforward. You jump from island to island, you complete the task on that island, and move to the next. You could be tearing into the robotic enemies inhabiting the simulation, finding hidden secrets, making deals with obelisks, or just finding loot, all leading up to that final boss fight. Combat is fast and fluid. It honestly feels like butter. If you're a fan of tight controls, I felt them here. Aiming, shooting, picking up debris or exploding barrels with your gravity tether and slinging them at enemies, combining that with your traversal options, double jumping, mid-air dashing, and even rail grinding. The dev is very clearly wanting to offer you a sandbox and the tools to complete the job, but ultimately lets you decide how to get it done. It did take some time for the game systems to click, for me to get comfortable with all these various mechanics while also fighting off hordes of enemies, but after an hour, it all felt completely natural. This is one of those games you watch someone play and it looks like they're seeing through the matrix. It's punchy, it's intuitive, and left a really good first impression. What I appreciate is the dev has made this easy, and I don't mean trivial. You're constantly making decisions on the fly, which to me is the sign of a good, strong design focus. I'll give you an example. One of the game's many mechanics is its stagger system. You can stagger enemies by throwing explosive barrels and other items at them, or by dropping buildings on their head with grenades. Did I forget to mention that buildings are entirely destructible? They are. It might not be on par with some AAA titles, but for an indie project, it's a very strong showing, and something I wish more games did. And these mechanics are core to the experience. You don't find health and ammo often as you move through the game. You must stagger enemies and kill them while staggered to replenish your stocks, which is great design in my eyes, and may have been borrowed from the modern Doom series. Staggering enemies stops them in their tracks, and killing them leaves health and ammo behind. Bringing a building down on top of a group of enemies is incredibly satisfying, but can create a lot of visual noise. And this might be one of my few criticisms. The game's muted color palette for its environment, mixed with really bright lighting and chaotic particles from your own weapon and enemies, can create something akin to the most brutal of bullet hell experiences, and it did make it challenging to see what was happening at times, but it didn't spoil the experience. Just left me with a few moments where I had to get my bearings again after expending an entire clip in about 1 second. The game's central mechanic is its weapon modification system, and this is going to be core to the experience. As you progress through a run, you'll be rewarded with loot. This loot is modifications to your weapon, although it can be a little misleading. Some of the modifications, while you slot them into your gun, improve your ability to dash, provide you a ground pound ability, and can do things like increasing your damage while crouch sliding, or increasing the damage of falling buildings. It was hard to fully engage with the system during the playtest. It's clearly designed to become much more engaging as you get past the first level, but I can see what the final product is going to offer. The problem is, the playtest feels like it's teasing you with an ice cream sundae, and only letting you eat the whipped cream. You can see it, but you can't fully experience it. A limitation of the playtest, yes, but I think it may leave some people wondering if that's it. Each time you get some loot, you enter your gun customization screen. Here, you will combine your modifications through this grid system. You slot modifications into open squares. Some don't need to be connected. Others can be augmented by placing them next to one another. Your weapon always has a stock standard firing mode, a basic gun that never runs out of ammo. You will then find new projectile modifications which give you alternate firing modes. These use your ammunition. My favourite was this orb firing skill that shoots out blue balls. They don't travel far, but they have insanely high damage, turning my weapon into a type of shotgun, but with a single slug that comes out to a stop in mid-air. It's sci-fi stuff, but it rocked. I was then combining this with the live duplicator mod, which caused my ball to split into 5 or 6 more balls, basically making my gun shoot out one strong projectile, and then causing that projectile to shoot out a scatter shot when it came to a stop, giving me 2 opportunities for some insane damage. Here's me taking on the boss with it, and absolutely chunking it down. I also got to try out a spark shooter. Very similar concept. They didn't travel far, but could absolutely shred and electrify enemies. The difference? I found a corrupted mod on that playthrough called Stuck Trigger, which, as you might expect, causes your gun to fire its entire clip the moment you press the trigger. Insane for my weapon, and very strong against bosses of course. Not particularly helpful when you're fighting a single enemy and want to conserve ammo. I want to throw in here, I also found another corrupted mod that made my damage increase based on how high my in-game sensitivity was. So by cranking that up to 100, I was doing much more damage if I could land the shots. And the beauty of this system only really dawned on me a couple of hours in. You can have multiple firing types on this gun. You can have the balls and the sparks as different projectile mods if you find them, allowing you to switch back and forth, which would really help you deal with the situation on hand. There were also mods that open up extra previously closed slots within the module gun selection screen, and this is where I think Voidbreaker will shine on release. In a single run during the playtest, you can generally build out some good modifications, but you don't really get to play around with the utility mods to fully engage with this system, which is one of the playtest's biggest weaknesses and one I do worry will turn players off. This is a system that will really only open up as you get a biome or two into the game. As a result in the playtest, those utility mods I should be excited about always felt like a bit of a letdown. I don't hold that against the final product, and I don't want you to either. I just want to stress that what you're looking at is the tip of the iceberg here. Environment and enemy design I found to be visually pleasing. I'm very curious what further biomes will look like. Given they use the term biome, I take that to mean they will be visually distinct, and I'd love to see greater enemy variety, which I imagine will come on the game's full release. As a first impression, this playtest ticked all the boxes for me. If I had some criticisms or feedback, I'd say at times I found it was more effective to just sit back and snipe down enemies. Keeping distance is always king in an FPS if you're accurate with your shots, and it's no different here. As a result, in some instances, I was completely ignoring the game's destruction mechanics in favor of sitting back and taking safe shots to avoid damage. I think this could easily be overcome with some more engaging mechanics, such as needing to collect items in an area to continue, and I can see this is being considered in the game design, as some islands required me to collect a data cube and then protect an area while it was decrypted. Short of that, I found the enemy and boss design engaging, visually clean, and the game's story intriguing. Only a taste of this is available in the playtest. The premise is you've been kidnapped by an AI, you're being used in combat simulations, and that is your only purpose. But there are echoes of those who came before, hinting at a way out. I guess we'll have to find that on full release. There is some intrigue to this story, and it is told through a companion AI that has joined you, and through found logs in the game world. Roguelite stories for me are generally set dressing, but this seems to have some solid foundations, and I cannot wait to see where they take it. As a playtest, Voidbreaker is coming in strong. I hope players aren't put off by the limited systems available. I noticed a grappling hook is also listed in the keybinds, but wasn't used or explained in the tutorial. There is so much to this game that I hope people aren't seeing the tip of this iceberg and writing it off. When this releases, I expect it to have a strong landing in the gaming community. But these are just my thoughts. Have you checked out Voidbreaker? Did you try it out? Let me know in the comments below. If you want to see more, I streamed 4 hours of Voidbreaker yesterday, and that VOD is available here on YouTube, linked in the description. If you want to join me live playing all kinds of games, you can find me here on YouTube and Twitch every Tuesday and Thursday, 4 PM Australian Western Standard Time. Until then, if you've enjoyed the video and want to help the channel out, you already know how. Throw a like on the video, sub if you want to see more. You being here, that's what really counts. Have a good one, guys, and I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.